My name's Kate Raworth. I'm author of a book called Doughnut Economics, 7 Ways to Think Like a 21st Century Economist, because I believe now is the time to rewrite economics so it's fit for the realities and our new understanding of the 21st century. 20th century economics is trapping us in old systems, old metrics of money, old rules of regulations, old ideas about who we are as people. We need to put that, thank you very much, aside, and let's start again with ideas for our times. That humanity is not just self-interested and competitive, we are collaborative and adaptive. That we live not just with natural resources like a set of Lego blocks, we live within ecosystems, we're part of nature, we're in that web of life. How can we redesign the goal of economic development? How can we redesign markets and the role of the state and the role of the community? Let's bring it in and recognize it. How can we therefore create prices and regulations and property rights that actually will make this possible? I think this is one of the most exciting 21st century tasks that we have to take on. I'm very inspired by the work of Janine Benyus, one of the world's leading biomimicry thinkers. If she's invited by a city to say, help us improve the ecosystem services in our city, her first question is, well, where is the wildland next door? Take me to the natural habitat that would be here if this city wasn't. Is it a wetland or a forest or a sand dunes? And let's go there. Take that as a reference point. Measure from a hectare of that land how much carbon dioxide it's sequestering, how much groundwater it's storing after a storm, how much soil it's forming, how much biodiversity does it house, how is it filtering the air, cleaning the water. These become the ecosystem standards for this place. And then it creates this outrageously irresistible question for a city. Can our city or neighborhood match or exceed the performance of this wild land next door? Can we sequester as much carbon dioxide here as the forest does? Can we store as much groundwater after a storm as the forest does? To me, that's irresistible because it means our cities start to belong in the ecosystems that they're situated in. We come home to the nature of this place. And we set these standards of ambition that I think will mobilize communities, will make sense to not just the local community, but to the city-wide as a metric for the 21st century. So that, to me, is what it means to improve the ecosystem of this place. The big project right now is to give value and recognition to nature. And this project can go in two very, very different directions. There's one, which is the current stream, which is to, as it were, perfect the 20th century project of financializing everything. In the 20th century, we invented the metric of money as the one metric to rule them all. GDP, invented in the 1930s. It became the overriding way of measuring the success of a country. And now there's a possibility of putting a financial value on ecosystems, on natural capital, and new technologies are making it possible to do that ever, ever better. So one project is to perfect the project of financializing nature until everything is included in that number of money. And while that's going on, there's a whole other project being born, which is recognizing that for the first time, we can describe and measure nature's generosity and life systems in nature's own metrics. We can measure the carbon dioxide we put in the atmosphere. We can measure the hole in the ozone layer. We can measure the depletion of ecosystems. We can measure the quality of the soil. We can measure the health of humans, our nutrition, our educational level, our self-reported levels of happiness. So we can actually measure the well-being of people and planet in natural and social metrics on the terms of life itself. These are very different projects. Shall we financialize everything or start again with nature and people in their own terms? I think we actually need both, because people who are facing policymakers today need to speak the language of power, and that's money. So they need to be able to say these trees in the city are worth millions. So don't cut them down, put them on your balance sheet and take account of them, and that will get them protected today. But there's a whole other project of redefining the language of power and stopping all civil service work and all government and city work from being conducted in the metric of money, because life doesn't happen in money. Life happens in nature's values and in human values. So how can we create the full stack of regulations and prices and markets and understanding and language and metaphor and relationship that we need to do justice to what I think will actually be the dashboard of metrics we're going to create in the 21st century.